The Unova Tour global event starts really soon in Pokémon GO around the world, but many of you still had questions about the event. So in this video, I'm going to be answering your last minute questions and clarifying anything you might still be confused on. Now I'm going to be doing my best to avoid repeats in this video, so make sure to check the timestamps down below to skip around as needed. Which one of the new Fusion Legendary Pokemon is going to be better, Black Kyurem or White Kyurem with their legacy movesets? So I just recently made a video going over this. If you guys want to check out the full analysis, then check out that video on screen right now. Otherwise, when it comes down to it, White Kyurem I think is going to be the better option to go with, because you can use that as a really good ice type attacker and then also in the open Master League as well. To be fair though, specifically against other dragon type Pokemon in raid battles, Black Kyurem is going to be preferred, but you're going to have a lot more scenarios where using ice types is going to be a bigger advantage, and because they both have relevance in the open Master League, White Kyurem just makes a lot more sense. Do we know how much fusion energy we're going to get per raid and how much it'll take to fuse? So yes, we know how much it's going to cost to fuse the Pokemon. It's going to be 1000 fusion energy each. As far as how much fusion energy we're going to get per raid, at the in-person event, it was between like 80 to 110, I would have to say on average. I think you could get like 120 though if you're fast enough. I mean, I'm not really sure how it's calculated, but on average, I would say anywhere from 10 to 12 raids to get enough for one of the fusions is going to be what's required. Which means, yeah, if you don't have the extra raid passes saved up, it's going to be a little bit of a problem, isn't it? But at the end of the day, that's pretty much how it's been in the past for Necrozma too. If you want to save as much money as possible, my recommendation is going to be to focus on one fusion specifically rather than both. What happens if I fuse a non-shiny Kyurem with a shiny Reshiram? Would the fusion be shiny? Okay, so this is a question I've been asked quite a bit. I am going to clarify this very simply. No, it will not be shiny. Everything is based on Kyurem, guys. So if you want to get a shiny White Kyurem or a shiny Black Kyurem, the Kyurem has to be shiny. If you want to get a Hundo, it has to be the Kyurem that has the Hundo. Reshiram and Zekrom are irrelevant here. If you fuse together a shiny Reshiram or a shiny Zekrom with your non-shiny Kyurem, it is going to be a non-shiny. The same could also be applied to a lucky variant as well, so basically if a Kyurem was a non-lucky but the Reshiram or Zekrom was lucky, the Black or White Kyurem would also not be lucky. So hopefully that makes sense. Everything is based on Kyurem, guys. Reshiram and Zekrom are basically just the fusion fodder when it comes down to these. How do I get Black Kyurem with two legacy movesets? I guess we need one Kyurem with Glaciate and Zekrom with Fusion Bolt, and then do I need to let the Kyurem learn an extra charged attack first before I fuse them together, or how does that actually work? So this is an excellent question. I think one of the best questions I got by far. So basically when it comes down to it, yes, you have it right that Kyurem needs to know Glaciate before you decide to fuse it. That is very important to get the exclusive moveset, which in this case, if you fuse it together with Zekrom, it's going to get Free Shock. Now, as far as getting Fusion Bolt goes, you don't need to actually have the secondary moveset unlocked before you fuse it, and you also don't need to use an Elite TM once it's fused either. Fusion Bolt on Black Kyurem and Fusion Flare on White Kyurem is not going to be a legacy moveset, believe it or not. To my knowledge, you also don't need to have Zekrom with Fusion Bolt or Reshiram with Fusion Flare when you fuse it together. I'm pretty sure that is irrelevant. Once you actually have Black or White Kyurem, you can just TM to get those movesets because they're not going to be legacy. The most important thing that you guys do have on your Kyurem though is going to be Glaciate. This is what transforms into the legacy movesets, the legacy adventure effect movesets, either Ice Burn or Free Shock respectively. Keep in mind though, these are going to be legacy movesets for Reshiram and Zekrom individually. So if you want to get those movesets on those Pokemon specifically, you have to use an Elite TM, or you can catch them from raid battles right now. But if you want to fuse it together, those movesets are not going to be legacy. Hopefully that makes sense. Can you discuss the timed research paths that split into the black and white version? So yes, it's essentially going to be the badges that you get. You have to pick either black or white version. So yes, this is a common question that I got asked recently, and we'll kind of break this down right now. Essentially, from picking the black version, you're going to receive a Reshiram themed special research rewards. Also, every single Kyurem you encounter after defeating a Black Kyurem in 5-star raid battles is going to know the charge move Glaciate. Now, the opposite is also true for the white version, which is going to be relevant to Zekrom. So basically, whichever version you pick, you want to focus on that specific variant. So for example, black version, go with Black Kyurem raids. For white version, go with White Kyurem raids. Now, of course, keep in mind, you do want to raid both of them for the fusion energy, but you want to focus on raiding the one that's going to be respective to your version to get more Kyurem with Glaciate, and then just also have those for lucky trades and potentially to even get one with good IVs. Otherwise, you will have to use an Elite TM. That is going to be kind of annoying. The next question here is going to be pretty relevant to the last one as well. Can you use a previously caught Kyurem with Glaciate as the base Pokemon for the fusion process? I mean, if you don't care about the special backgrounds, can you use a previously caught Pokemon to do the fusion process? Or do you have to use these newly caught special Pokemon versions to do this fusion process? So I can totally understand why you might think this way, because we had Palkia Origin Form and Dialga Origin Form. You know, to get those adventure effects, you had to just catch them from raid battles. That's the only way. Well, luckily for this one, when it comes down to Kyurem and its fusions, all you need is the energy and Glaciate, so it doesn't really matter if it was an old Kyurem. I actually have a shiny Lucky 98 Kyurem without Glaciate, which I'm gonna have to Elite TM, but given the IV spread, given that it's gonna be a shiny Lucky, it makes a lot of sense. So basically, to answer your question, no, you don't have to catch them from this event. You can use one of your old ones and just give it Glaciate. Almost 50 raids today during the in-person Go Tour event, no Hundo and only 3 shinies. I did fuse together a Zekrom with the LA card and a Kyurem also with the LA card, but there's no double card special background, sadly. So for any confusion about this, the special double background was only available from the global event, and that's going to be the black and white background. To explain this once again, Zekrom can have a white background, Reshiram can have a black background if you get lucky from the raid battles, and then Kyurem can have either a black or white background, and you essentially just want to fuse together the opposite background. So if you fuse together an LA background, it's not going to matter at all. It's going to take priority over the special backgrounds, which in this case would be the black or white backgrounds. I do wish that we had the opportunity to get these special black and white backgrounds during the in-person event, but I guess they've always just done the location backgrounds for those. Do we believe that Reshiram and Zekrom are going to have their legacy movesets during the global tour only during the upcoming days when they're going to be in raids on their own? There was no indication that we wouldn't have them over the weekend, so yeah, you should be good to go. Do you think the legendary Pokemon are going to be easier to catch this weekend? My worst complaint was how hard it was to catch them in person. So unfortunately, given the whole bait and switch with the adventure effects, create a problem, then sell them the solution, I don't think they're going to be any easier. Like, I would be really, really doubtful if they were. I'm hoping that they are going to be easier to catch, but based on the in-person event, that was incredibly frustrating. So I hope you guys have golden raspberries saved up, because you're definitely going to need them. Anyone else get a timed research for the 15 raid battles, glitch out and get it for free? Mine did. It even came back today, and so I guess I can do it twice. So the reason why this happened is because there was some sort of glitch where if you actually beat a raid boss, it wouldn't actually, complete one of those research steps. And because of that glitch, Niantic decided to give everybody just a free completed research for that in addition to the one previously. But for those of you who don't know this, and maybe you just haven't logged in recently, go log into your app and claim all those encounters. It's completely free for everybody, even if you didn't raid this past week. I'm pretty sure those encounters expire before the global event starts on Saturday, so make sure to go and redeem all those if you haven't done so already. Is there going to be a special research that'll give us Kyurem Fusion Energy just like Necrozma? Because we're not going to have a paid special research to my knowledge for this event, I don't think you're going to get more fusion energy, but because nobody's actually completed it, I can't say for certain, so I'm sorry about that. So will the hatching and raiding ticket have their effects during the weekend as well, or during the days with raid hours during the week? So for those who were unclear about this, yes, the raid tickets and hatch tickets for this event are going to extend into the event over the weekend for the global Unova Tour. So even if you're watching this on Friday, for example, but you're going to be raiding a bunch over the weekend, I would encourage you guys to consider getting the raiding ticket, because you're going to get all those extra large candy bonuses, and honestly that makes a big difference if you're going to be using a bunch of raid passes anyways. That being said, it is going to be totally up to you. I don't think you need to buy any of these event tickets to really enjoy the event over the weekend, but if you're going to be doing a bunch of raids, or if you're going to be hatching a bunch of Pokemon anyways, the tickets do kind of seem like a good investment. Are we going to get more daily free raid passes, like instead of 2, can you spin for 8? Unfortunately, you're not going to have that during this event. They don't typically give us this bonus during the major events of Pokemon Go, like Go Tour or Go Fest. We do get these for raid days, but unfortunately not for this event. Are there battle passes for the $15 Deluxe ticket? So I'm pretty sure they were referring to the Tour Pass Deluxe here. No, to my knowledge, there aren't going to be any premium passes offered, but you are going to get premium items in that deluxe ticket, like star pieces and lucky eggs, lure modules. Plus, you're also going to get the lucky trinket at the end of it, which I think is the main appeal. But no raid passes, surprisingly. Please tell me what legendaries are worth grinding using my premium passes. Please tell me, LuckyBunz. Okay, so for this weekend, you can honestly raid anything. I mean, Kyurem Fusion's probably preferred over Reshiram and Zekrom if you don't have like that many passes. You definitely want to get the fusion energy for these Pokemon. That should be your top priority. But if you're limited on stuff, I mean, Reshiram or Zekrom, not bad options at all. Reshiram's going to be the top fire type attacker, Zekrom's going to be the top electric type attacker. At the end of the day, basically any 5-star raid this weekend is going to be good. I wouldn't really recommend doing the 1 or 3-star raids though. Why is the battle pass limited to 150 points per day? Surely that makes it impossible to complete within the week, and a complete scam of $15 or 15 pounds as they said. Now I do understand the confusion by this, and I totally understand not everybody watches my videos, but to basically explain this in simple terms, the Road to Unova Tour event limited how many points you can get per day, but the global event over the weekend isn't going to have a limit, so you can complete all 500 ranks over the weekend, and trust me, it's not as crazy as it might sound. It's very much doable, especially if you're going to be fast catching. Legacy moves didn't work for me on my first try. I recall it was the same for last year. To my knowledge, I'm pretty sure you have to evolve these Pokemon during the event hours on either Saturday or Sunday, or at least between 10 AM on Saturday to 6 PM on Sunday. Anytime between that time, and they should work to get the exclusive movesets. If you want to play it safe, just do it during the event hours. That's what I normally do because honestly, with Niantic, you can never really tell. Now keep in mind, even though this wasn't confirmed on the official blog post, during the in-person event, the legacy moves were available, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be applicable to the global event as well. Will all the Unova Pokemon be in the wild, mainly Larvesta? Unfortunately, no, all the Unova Pokemon will not be in the wild. Pokemon like Sandile, Mienfoo, they're not going to be included at all. Like, I don't even know why. And Larvesta is going to be exclusive behind 2 km, 5 km, and 10 km eggs. The next question, or questions I should say, is going to be in regards to the shiny rate. Is there actually going to be a boosted shiny rate during the event? So officially, there was nothing on the blog post that actually indicated that we're going to have a boosted shiny rate. Now, are there going to be perma-boosted shiny Pokemon available? Yes, like Pokemon like Clink are going to be perma-boosted at 1 out of 64 rather than 1 out of 500. So you can definitely get some shinies during this event even if there is no shiny boost. But keep in mind, like every other Pokemon, unlike past events where there actually was a shiny boost if you bought the event ticket, there was no event ticket to buy to get a shiny boost. That pretty much indicates we're not going to have one for this event, at least not to my knowledge, because for the in-person event, Niantic specifically stated on the blog post that there would be a shiny boost. And even at the in-person event, the shiny boost wasn't anything drastic. And for the global event, there was nothing, which again indicates that there isn't going to be a shiny boost. Now, of course, even though I mentioned this in my last video and I tried to avoid spreading misinformation, I definitely got some pushback on it. Somebody said there isn't a confirmation that there is no shiny boost, it's just normally assigned to a typical event ticket, could not be this year or even tied to the Deluxe pass. I mean, sure, you could definitely be optimistic and hope that there is a shiny boost, but why would I spread misinformation and say that there is a shiny boost when there was nothing to state or even confirm that there will be? So yes, when it comes down to it, I do hope that there's going to be some sort of shiny boost for the global event. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but as of right now, going off the official information, there was nothing to indicate that. Is there a way to stop my Go Plus from making shinies run away? During the wild area, 2 ran away and a Galarian Moltres did as well. Okay, so here's the, honest truth about this stuff, the hard reality that you have to accept. Do not use your Autocatcher if you are worried about this happening. You can set it to spin only if you just want to have that. And that's actually what I do during these events, because I have had so many shinies run away because of my Autocatcher. It is what it is, like, it's using regular Pokeballs, they do not have the best catch rate, shinies are almost guaranteed to run away. But what you can also do is you can click on every Pokemon, shiny check them first, and then use your Autocatcher to catch everything after that, if you just don't feel like, fast catching. But of course, the best approach is always going to be to fast catch, because then you can at least see if the Pokemon's shiny first. Whereas if you are using an Autocatcher, yes, it is going to be more convenient, but there is no way to avoid those shinies running away, man, I'm sorry. Same thing with the Galarian bird. You gotta make sure that Autocatcher is turned off on catches, especially if you're gonna be using something like a daily adventure incense. The Autocatcher for some reason picks up the incense spawns insanely fast. I have no idea why. Maybe because they can only be on the map for like a short period of time, so the Autocatcher just prioritizes them. Either way, I mean, if you want to avoid that happening, just make sure that your Autocatcher is set to spins only, not to Autocatch, or at the very least, turn off the Autocatcher, check everything, and then turn it on later. How do you know when your encounters are full? I've been doing it for a while now and it doesn't tell me anything. I hope I'm not trashing any. So unfortunately, there's a possibility that you may be trashing some. You can only stack up to 100, which is a lot for many players, but during the in-person event, for example, I cleared over 200 field research quests, and I guarantee I probably lost some encounters along the way. Once you get to 100, it starts deleting them first in, first out, so whatever you caught first is going to be the first to leave as well. Which means if you got like a shiny or like a hundo potentially and you started going through them past 100, those could go away. The best way to avoid this is honestly not to let it get that far, and if you've been stacking them for a long time, try and go through and at least clear some out. You definitely will know once you actually went past the 100 limit because you're going to start seeing stuff that you probably caught more recently rather than like a long time ago. I struggle with 8300 storage. I just realized they increased capacity, so I'm going to upgrade now. I have 2,790 Pokemon tagged for extra large candy trades. That's a lot, man. Honestly, at a certain point, you should probably consider transferring some of those, even though, it'd be ideal if you could keep them all. Trading that many Pokemon is going to take you 28 days at minimum if you did every single one of them. I don't even know how many of those are legendary Pokemon. Now, when it comes down to it, it's difficult to get rid of stuff. I totally understand that. Like, being free to play for the last 9 years almost, it has been challenging to manage with minimal storage compared to everybody else. Like, I have less than half of the max storage in game, and I have almost every single meta-relevant Pokemon right now. So yeah, that combined with everything else, I make it work, and I still have plenty of storage for events like these. If you are struggling, or if anybody out there is struggling, my storage management guide, it goes through everything I do as a free-to-play player. I'm confident it can help you guys out as well. So please, watch that video, let me help you, help yourself, and I guarantee it is a long video, but after you watch that video, you are going to be able to conquer your Pokemon storage and just get rid of a ton of things. I totally understand the rationalization to keep a bunch of things, but when it comes down to it, you gotta have these hard conversations with yourself, and that's exactly what that video does. I live in a small town, so I won't be able to defeat the raids, and there's never a local meetup anywhere near me. So you have a couple of options here. The first option is to host a meetup yourself, see if you get any attendance. That could be a start. The second option is going to be using something like PokeGenie to host the raid lobbies and get remote raid players to actually join your lobbies. This has honestly been a godsend. I don't live near very much personally, so when I go out to do raids that's like really close by, I typically have to use apps like PokeGenie to get extra raid support. It's definitely a win-win scenario because these people are already going to be doing their remote raids anyways. There's no limit on remote raid passes this weekend as well, so the odds of actually getting some people to help you out are going to be higher than they normally would. But if you really want to maximize your raid opportunity, I would definitely try to look to your closest city, see if there's any meetups anywhere there. If you really live in the middle of nowhere, then honestly, there isn't much you can do about it. This game is really designed for city players, I'm going to be honest here. You can use PokeGenie as like a supplement to that, but it can only go so far. $15 is absolutely crazy. Also with the raids and only 2 free raid passes a day, not great without spending some extra money on battle passes. Lots of content, but not necessarily accessible for free-to-play players. So I'm going to give you the hard truth here as a free-to-play player myself. For these major events, you need to be prepping for them months in advance if you want to be actually getting the most out of it. When it comes down to people who spend money on this game, for sure, they can just buy whatever they need right away. But for free-to-play players, we're talking about a bunch of invested time getting the Pokecoins required to either buy the items through boxes or just standalone items by themselves, getting the extra storage space. There is a ton of prep. And, I get that it's not easy, and that's why I always recommend, if you want to make your life easier and you don't really care that much about free-to-play status, and, upgrading your storage for an event like this makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. You can totally get away with free-to-play and just get a bunch of good stuff. You may not get as much as your friends who are paying for all their stuff, but you're still going to get a bunch of things. I don't think the FOMO aspect is as bad as people make it out to be. You're going to get everything eventually, it's just going to take you a little bit longer. I have been preparing since December. I have 4,500 Great Balls, 1,800 Ultra Balls, 450 Golden Raspberries, 400 Silver Pinot Berries, and enough storage for 4,000 Pokemon. Okay, I just wanted to mention this comment because shout out to this guy. I really want to hear about your results by the end of the event. If you are seeing this right now, please let me know how you did because this is some of the best preparation I have ever seen. Are you going to make a video of your experience at the in-person event? So yes and no. I did recently put out a video going over things I wish I knew before playing the Unova Tour, which I think is going to be applicable to help people for the global event. I definitely recommend watching that. It also goes over a bunch of my shiny catches and things like that, so you can definitely get a better idea of what I experienced there. Unfortunately, as far as the vlog side of things go, I'm not an official content creator for Pokemon GO, so I didn't get any content creator pass, which actually allowed me to bring my film equipment in to film a vlog, and honestly guys, I probably wouldn't have even done it anyways, even if I had that content creator pass. I haven't made a vlog on the channel in such a long time, but, it's definitely something I could start start doing again. I do miss doing that sometimes, although they never really got that much attention, so it's kind of tough to say. You know, I definitely want to do what works on the channel rather than what doesn't work. Since Mega Metagross introduction is not far away, does somebody know if Niantic makes a special move available through evolution or charge TMs of a Pokemon when its Mega Evolution is introduced? Basically, I don't know if it's worth to hold on to my Shadow Beldum and not evolve it and give it the Elite TM. So if you have a really good IV Shadow Beldum, I think it is worth the Elite TM, but that's also assuming that you don't have a Duskmane Necrozma. Duskmane Necrozma is much better. Even if Mega Metagross was released, I don't believe we're going to get that ability to actually get Meteor Mash on it. There's a very low possibility of that actually happening. During many of the past events where we've gotten like new Mega Evolutions like Garchomp for example, the ability to get Earth Power, which is going to be that legacy moveset, wasn't available. So it's a long shot, it's not impossible, but if you already have a good IV Shadow Beldum with Frustration removed, honestly, evolving it using the Elite TM could be a worthy investment. It is a great Pokemon. That pretty much covers all the questions I had for this video. Hopefully I did answer your question in this one. If you guys have any more questions, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to respond to everybody before the event starts on Saturday, but after that I probably won't be able to get to comments until after this weekend is over. Anyways, in the meantime, if you guys want to check out some more content, I'm going to recommend these two videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.